pleasure to see you and talk about this film. If anyone 40 years ago had told you that you would star in your direct sequel 40 years later, what would have been your reaction?
I've been an unemployed actor for the most part of my life, even though I've worked a lot. Been a lot of times I am not employed. And when you're a freelance actor, you're only looking for your next gig. It's just what you do. So if you had told me 40 years ago, when I got this gig, and this was an amazing opportunity for me, that I'd 40 years later make another one of these, I would have been surprised that I would still be in the industry.
So many roles have defined your career, but is Laurie particularly significant because she was your first?
Well, I think she was my first and really certainly one of the best characters I've ever been able to play. And so I'm devoted to her. I'm grateful to John Carpenter and Deborah Hill for giving me that original opportunity, obviously. And I've been lucky to have other opportunities, but I mean, this is my first love.
True. Was she a blank canvas in the beginning, and do you consider she has 200 suitcases of emotional baggage in this?
She wasn't a blank canvas, but she had her life in front of her. She was a young woman with tremendous opportunity. She was smart. She was going to go to college. She was interested in philosophy, and she was able, she was romantic. She had all of it ahead of her. And in one day, it was taken from her by this violence. And yes, there is a lot of baggage that goes along with Laurie Strode. And the baggage is what happens to people who have traumatic violence perpetrated upon them without having the help that some people get. And she is an what is the term? I can't even think of it. Anyway, she's someone who's, by having no mental health help, she's been on her own.
Yeah, it's true. And actually, you know, the core theme of the film is how, you know, the traumas of childhood or the events of childhood still affect you, you know, in your adult life. Was that also for you the anchor of the story, the reason that motivated it?
Absolutely. That's, to be honest, it was not only that it affects you, it affects your family. So generational trauma, we know that from any horrific time in history, we know that the generations that have followed are affected. We know that. It was a very good study in the 3 generations of trauma.
Absolutely. I grew up in Beirut. I know how that
Yes,
affects you.
exactly.
Exactly.
And what happened to your grandparents affects you. And do you have children?
I do. I have children.
And what we hope is that it diminishes in our children. But yes, we carry it through.
In that subject, can you talk about working with the Aad family in general, the late Mustafa first and then Malik on this one?
So, you know, Mustafa Akkad was a great man, an artist himself. He was, you know, he was a director. He was interesting. He was creative. And his life, in fact, the true horror of Halloween is that he was killed with Rima, his daughter, his adult daughter, mother of 2 children, I believe. The most emotional moment for me on the movie, Halloween, this one, was the first day when I showed up on the set, and there was Malik, Mustafa's son. He was the first person I saw when I walked on my set. And I immediately started crying, and we embraced and stood there all these years later, remembering his dad. The movie is dedicated to Mustafa Akkad, and of course Halloween wouldn't exist without him.
Yeah, it's true. Wonderful family as well. And finally, you're the right person to ask what makes audiences come back for, you know, horror films. Why are they always so wanting to be scared?
Well, I don't know if I'm the right person to ask that, because that would mean I'm a psychologist, and I am not. I don't understand why people like to be scared, and yet I know they do. And I am the great recipient of a career of people who like to be scared. I don't like to be scared. And there's nothing I find fun about it, and yet there will be lines around the block to get in to see this movie. So I just like to say I don't know, but I'm grateful.